Alright, what is up, everyone? This is gonna be a chill stream, just kind of chilling here on a Sunday night. It's October 26th, 2025. Um, another week in the books. We're back at all-time highs, and yeah, there's gonna be a lot of interesting stuff to review. So I'm gonna be reviewing price action for this past week and looking at all kinds of trades you could have taken. So obviously, it's more of a chill stream, right? Kind of just chilling. Um, you know what? No, I'm gonna go to the computer. Let's actually go over here. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna. I actually am gonna set things up. Okay. But yeah, hopefully you guys are doing good. It's just not that comfortable. I have nothing against just being chill and doing a stream, but I don't know, I'm not that comfortable over there right now. What up, Ethan? I know you're in the other room. What up? Hang on. Dang it, I was gonna see if I could find you. Alright. Okay, so, yeah, let's get right to back testing and reviewing the week. Yeah, you actually were first today, so. I've been charting up a little bit here from, Tuesday. This is very interesting, and it was right as soon as the market was about to close, but it explains this entire move lower, so we should look at it. So, but yeah, once again, today is October 26th, 2025. It's a Sunday. I'm just going to be reviewing this past week. So, here we go. And then I'm going to move this right here. Okay. Yeah, we should be pretty good. So, you can clearly see this was a sell model. We had SMT right here with previous day's high. And I would like to actually pull up the other one as well. The other one, YM as well, because the situation where looking at all three of them is important. I want to see if there was low time frame SMT. Okay. Yeah, I guess YM's not super helpful. So let's just go back to yes. So clearly, you can clearly see that we had NASDAQ making a lower high, S&P making a higher high. What is this? SMT. It's where one asset makes a higher high, one asset makes a lower high. And within this SMT, we had a 1 hour premium fair value gap. So I'm going to pull that up. So you can see on the 1 hour, here's that premium fair value gap. It's the highest fair value gap, and it also we also swept out that high there. So then on the 5 minute, we fill the fair value gap. So just remember the signature and price, because it's going to repeat over and over again. Something I'm actually curious about is, yeah, this was like a CRT as well. Oh, but we already completed the CRT there. See how fascinating that is, right? This first trade completed the CRT, the second trade completed the sell model. We'll have to look at that one next. We'll look and see if there was like a CRT here next. But for now, just want to take a look at the 1 hour gap. So this is our 1 hour premium discount array. So it's our 1 hour key level. And then here you can see we have a 5 minute change in state. So first, identify for flow state, you need 3 things. You need a liquidity sweep. So there's liquidity sweep. And then So for flow state, you need liquidity sweep, higher time from key level, and align time from change in state. So what is this? Our higher time from key level. Here's our liquidity sweep. We pull back up to our change in state, which is also an inducement of this high, keep in mind. So let's frame this entire thing out as accumulation over here. Oh, you know what? We should look and see if there was a new day opening gap, actually. It's always interesting to see if there was or not. That's, wow. And we initially respect it, then we push above it. Anyway, well, we might need to turn this up, actually. Turn it back down. Okay, so you can clearly see 1 hour premium for value gap, 5-minute change in state. Honestly, guys, this is one where I wouldn't mind maybe measuring it out from the green body to the green wick. Well, that would have been just insane RR. So I guess we'll measure it out normally. So yeah, then 4 projections down would be right here. Honestly, very reasonable trade, I would say. Very reasonable. It's also an entry via an inducement, but as far as I'm concerned, I would just take this as a we are just entering on the retest of that change in state, so yeah. So I would just consider it a flow state retest. Okay. But it was tricky because this also was kind of right as the market was closing, so that is one thing to consider, is like, yeah. But also there's high time frame AMD, right? Accumulation, manipulation, and then lower time frame accumulation, manipulation. These are like the amazing. These types of trades are amazing when you have an accumulation range like this, for instance, manipulation, and then a lower time frame accumulation, and then an inducement. So for some reason, those trades are very, very precise. So accumulation, and then another secondary accumulation here. Let's just mark this whole thing out. See, now it's pretty obvious, huh? Right? Accumulation, manipulation, and then an inducement. So see how we framed this entire model out? By the way, there was another SMT. Wow. Was this 90-minute SMT? It literally was, dude. Whew. Wow. We're above the true open as well. We were above midnight, which is the true day open. We were above 1330, which is the true. That's crazy. So check this all out, right? It all makes perfect sense when you look at it like it always makes perfect sense, like why everything happened the way that it did. These markets are perfect, you know? So first of all, let's go through all of them, right? The true week open is Monday, 18 o'clock. Monday, 18 o'clock. Right here. Whoo! Ugh. Okay. So here's Monday, 18 o'clock. We were very nicely above that. Midnight is same thing, right? Midnight. Let's actually just get it to populate. There we go. So midnight is right here. Once again, the entry was above midnight, right? It's above the true week open. It was above midnight. You start to see why I like true opens, right? It tells you exactly where to expect the manipulation. It tells you exactly where. So there's midnight, true day open, bang. So we're above midnight, we're above 18. What's the next cycle? Next cycle is session cycle. So the true open of the session is 1330. Look at that. We're above 1330, right? You're starting to see it now. 1330, we're above that. So we are above. The inducement happens above the true session open, the true day open, the true week open, right? Coincidence? No. No, it's not. Because smart money's looking at this when they entered. They're very, very carefully looking at this. Because it's time-based premium and discount. That's what it is. So, okay, we're above midnight. We're above 18 o'clock. So this is the true week open. This is the true day open. This is the true session open. What's the next cycle down? And honestly, I don't even know if this is going to work, but we're just going to look at it, right? What's the next cycle down? Next cycle down is 90-minute cycle. So what quarter we were in? We were in Q3 of the session. What's the true session open? 15 is when the third quarter starts. So 15:22. So we can just eyeball it here. Like somewhere in here is going to be 15:22, right? We were above 15:22. What's that? That's the true 90-minute open. And so you start to see how all the true opens help you so much to dictate. Hey, what up, Kirk? You're not first, but still. We don't have 15:22 marked out as a 90-minute open. We gotta fix that, bro. Let's do that. But you're second, Kirk. You are second. But you start to see how when you pair all the true opens together, it gives you a giant roadmap to the highest probability manipulation and the highest probability inducement. It's saying, here's the hand, I'm giving it to you. Here's the market's giving you its hand, right? If the manipulation or the inducement occurs above 3 or 4 consecutive true opens, that's the market saying, yo, time-based premium and discount gives the thumbs up on this trade. That's what it means. And it's powerful. It's very, very powerful. So 15:22 is the 90-minute true open. Why? Why is 15:22 the 90-minute true open? Because 90-minute cycles go starting at 12 to 13:30. That's the 90 minutes. That's 90 minutes. 13:30 to 15. That's 90 minutes. 15 to 16:30, which, by the way, the market doesn't really trade from 16:30 to 18, but still, right? So 15 to 16:30. When does Q2 start within that? 15:22. It's 22-minute quarters. So that's the true open of the 90-minute cycle there. So you're starting to see how the true opens are very helpful in identifying the high probability inducements and the high probability manipulations. You see it, right? This is how we identify with a high probability what's likely to be inducement. So once again, the way you take this is entry on that change in state retest, or even on an inducement of that high. If we entered on an inducement of that high, I just take this as a flow state inducement, meaning like, well, I guess I would have to use this change in state, but still, right? Then you could project this change in state out, same deal. So, okay, just for reference, let's say, just so I can make sense here, like let's say I use this change in state, which is, I think, reasonable, right? Then I would project it out from the body to the end of the green, thing, and then I would target 4 projections, and see how that works too, right? See how that actually was exactly the low. So this is, if I wanted to take this just as a inducement of the high, then I could go like this with the change in state right here. So this would be the flow state inducement. If I'm taking something as a flow state inducement, I have to enter above the change in an inducement of a high above the change in state. Right? You see how we induce an old high? I enter as a cell limit of inducing an old high above the change in state. So that this is valid, right? This is actually 4.6R. But what would not have been valid is if I used the higher change in state, because, well, I'm entering as an inducement when we haven't even hit the change in state yet, right? Okay, but then what I'm saying is you could have taken it like this, right? Where you went, measured this out and said, okay, 4 projections down is here. Actually, I kind of like the... Now, we'll mark out both different ways. We'll mark out both ways. So here's way number 1, right? Where we enter on the retest of the CISD, the higher one, and it just so happens to go 4 projections down and then continue past that. So there it is, 4R, right? So first we'll save it like this. And then the way I probably would have taken it, I'll show you that next. I'll show you the most likely way that I would have taken it. So, accumulation. So see how we kind of have 2 different AMDs, a higher time frame AMD and a lower time frame AMD? And instead of marking out this as a manipulation, this is manipulation, right? This is manipulation. But I'm choosing to mark it out as an inducement. Because it's AMD on a lower time frame cycle within the higher time frame AMD. Okay, so this would be the entry 1550. By the way, what time is 1550? Right at the start of the macro, right? So we'll do multiple screenshots of this, right? But this was really, really nice. So 1550. What is this, Tuesday? 1550 Tuesday, right? 1 hour, wait. 1550 flow state retest, 1 hour, 5 minute. Okay, so that's version 1. Let's go on the lower time frame and observe and show how this was right as soon as the macro started. I think it is valuable to go on the lower time frame and observe the same trade just on the lower time frame. So look at how precise we wick into that change in state and then we deliver lower. Look at that, right? What time is 1554? What is that? 9, 6, 15, 1 plus 5 is 6. That's a 369 time. Is that a coincidence? Nah, it's not. It's not a 9 though, but it is a 6. So we tap the CISD at 1554, which is a 6. I'm not going to mark that down because I just don't really care to, but it's important for our mental notes, right? We tap the CISD at 1554, which is 1 plus 5 plus 5 plus 4, which is 15. 1 plus 5 is 6. It's a 369 time, right? Stop loss at the manipulation leg. delivery 4 projections lower. So we will screenshot this. And also, when was this? During the macro, right? It was during the macro from 1550 to 1610. And you might be wondering, well, why didn't you use the 1515 to 1545 one? Because once again, it's based off of AMD, right? Macro was only a macro if it is in line with AMD. If it's not in line with AMD, I don't even really consider it a macro, honestly. And once again, I consider a macro to be from the entry to the drawn liquidity. That's my definition, right? From the entry to a drawn liquidity. So, yeah, macros are one of those things where you really start to get them when you realize it is just a piece of the puzzle that's only going to be valid when it aligns with AMD. Right? That's the key. And most people don't get that, but that's okay. So we'll mark this out as 1550 to 1610 macro. Bang. Right? See how that's exactly when we deliver 2-4 projections down? Once again, it's not a coincidence. Above every single true open. So we're going to go ahead and screenshot that. By the way, look at that. Whew. That's crazy. That's sweet. Okay, screenshotting. So this is the second version of the same trade that we already marked out. This time we go 4 projections down. Or this time it's just a lower time frame screenshot. So 1550 flow state retest 1 hour aligning with the 5-minute. Here's a second version of how not second version, but this is lower time frame perspective of that same idea. Okay, going back up. Once again, maybe you take it like that, maybe you don't, but the way that I would probably take it is I would probably take it as marking out this change in state. So we might mark out this lower change in state. This is the obvious one. And then I'd be waiting as entering as an inducement of this high with my stop at the high of the green body. So here's the change in state, right? This red candle to this high. For me, I would just mark out the projections from this red candle to the high of this green thing, because this wick, to me, that's erroneous. That's erroneous. I would just mark out from the body of this red thing to the high. To me, that's the obvious projection leg. So from the body to the wick, measure that out, right? So you see how we go perfectly 4 projections down? That's not a coincidence. That's 'cause Smart Money measured that same exact leg that I did, right? So 4 projections down from the body to the wick of this. And I put my stop loss from where I measured standard deviations. So I'd go stop loss right here. And then you could enter on the change of state retest. If so, then you would have a trade like this. And, well, this would have taken a lot longer. Or I could be more patient and say, I'm actually going to only enter when we induce the high above the change in state. And now that's 6-1. So you see how I got there? You see how I got that answer? Right? This is a much more precise way to take the exact same trade. But I like this version better. Right? Where we measure out from the body to the high. And then instead of entering at the change of state, we enter as an inducement. So I call this flow state inducement, or flow state dash I, where we enter as an inducement above the change in state. And yeah, it's kind of confusing, but I mean, this isn't going to be, it's not rocket science. Rocket science is more complicated, but it's not easy either. Like, we gotta keep going. I mean, do we want to be great traders or just be okay traders? I want to be great. I want to be great. That's the end of the day, period. I want to be a great trader. So 1550 flow state inducement. That's what I'm going to call this. So 1550 flow state inducement. If you ever see me mark it out as flow state dash I, that means flow state inducement. And then this is the 1 hour for value gap, aligning with a 5-minute change in state of delivery, and we're inducing a high above the change in state. Bang. All right, going on a little break. This is a pretty clean trade, though. You have to admit, right? I mean, the inducement, maybe even wait. If you actually waited to make sure we're above midnight, then you actually would have gotten 7R instead of 6R. So once again, there's all different kinds of ways to take these trades. I'd probably not do that, though. I'd probably just go like that, because that's not one of my models to just, I don't know, I'd have to think about it. But I'm going to go use the bathroom. Whew. Yeah, this is clean. I mean, this is really cool, right? You see how precise these markets are? We just got to keep locking in, right? 4 projections down, by the way, exactly. Oh wait, yo, guys, I forgot about, maybe the coolest part is the fact we had a previous day high SMT right here, but then on the lower time frame we have 90-minute SMT. I forgot about that part. When we look at it like that, oh my gosh, this is like a near perfect trade when you look at it like that, right? 90-minute SMT with the inducement, previous day high SMT with the manipulation. When you look at it like that, that is a near perfect trade. I mean, this is, wow, this is pretty cool. I have to admit, this is pretty cool. So, $90-minute SMT. So there we go. Right. So let's go ahead and screenshot this again. But now we include the 90-minute SMT. And so, kind of cool, right? Stacked sequential SMTs. Not necessarily a royal flush, but royal flush it's a term I made up for when you have like three sequential SMTs on top of each other, but still 2 sequential SMTs on top of each other, right? That's pretty nice. Maybe there was 3. I'm not going to go in that deep, and I'm not going to look. Honestly, maybe you still consider this a royal flush. I don't know. Maybe 2 is enough for royal flush. I don't know. I like that term though, royal flush. It's a cool name. But yeah, entry as an inducement of that high. So this is same thing. 1550 flow state inducement. 1 hour, 5-minute, number 2. And this one has a 90-minute SMT. Okay. I'm gonna continue the break. Just give me like 3 more minutes. Yeah. I mean, when you look at it like this, it is crazy precise. The next thing I want to look at is the CRT. The CRT was nice, honestly. So let's clean up the chart a little bit. So I have a new way of marking out CRT, and I'm actually liking it a lot. And I'll show you guys what I mean in just a second. But you know how with a CRT, it can either be one singular candle, or it could be like a range of 5 candles that get that CRT signature with. Well, I realized it's kind of it changes every time, whether it's like 1 candle, or whether it's 2, or whether it's 3, or whether it's 5. So I just realized, you know what? I'm gonna make a new template that's just called CRT range, and I'm gonna use that. And I like that a lot better, because then we don't have to go, okay, C1, C2, C3. Like, it's going to be different every time. So I just want to have CRT range, manipulation candle, and then the CRT entry, which we call the Genesis entry. At least I call it that. Okay, so yeah, there's proof stay high S&T. So same thing with the CRT. We were above midnight. We were above midnight. We were above the true week open. So see that. And you might be wondering, what CRT? I didn't even see the CRT. Well, with the 15 minute, right? And the 15 minute looks a lot more obvious. We have a range of 1, 2, 3, 4 green candles. Ooh, wait a second. We might need to do this on the 5 minute. Maybe it's not a CRT. I don't know. I feel like maybe there's a learning opportunity here, because the CRT happens within one 15-minute candle. So hang on. So first of all, so you might be wondering, okay, where's the CRT range? It's the range of consecutive up-close candles right here, the 4 consecutive up-close candles. So that's the range. We manipulate the high of the range. So here's the CRT range. So we know with a high probability, we should deliver to the low of the range. So with the CRT, you can use a range of up-close candles or a range of down-close candles. This is something I just recently figured out, and it's all valid, right? So CRT range. This is what I was just trying to get at, right? We're above the CRT range. So at which point we purge one side of the CRT range. So uh, we almost instantly delivered to the other side of the CRT range. But there's no, I don't know, was there an entry? What I'm wondering is, was there an entry, right? So this is where we actually get a learning opportunity here. Was there an entry? Was there a 3-minute? Yeah. So this is interesting. I've never had this happen before, but this is like it's a 3-minute CRT on a 15-minute CRT range. Can you do that? It's a learning opportunity, I guess. I think you could, honestly. Right, so we have this 15-minute range. The important thing is we purge one side of it, and then we look for our entry above the highest of open or close of candle 2. So our entry needs to be above the either whatever's higher, the open or close of candle 2. And then we target the other side of the candle range. So that's going to be this low here. Dang, bro. That's actually clean. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Right? We have this 15-minute range. The 3-minute candle purges one side of the range, closes back within the range. So now we take the open or close, whichever's higher on the 3-minute, and we look for our optimal entry point above that 3-minute candle, above the open or close, whichever's higher of that 3-minute candle. And then boom, that's actually so clean, actually. So we use a 3-minute CRT here on a 15-minute range. I don't know. It's an interesting thought. I don't know if this is valid or not. It's my first time kind of experimenting with this idea where I use a higher time frame candle range and a lower time frame CRT, but this is how we learn, is by experimenting with new ideas. Okay, scrolling back. I don't know. There's definitely possibly something to it. I mean, objectively there is. Look how aggressively we expand to the other side right as soon as that 3-minute candle closes. And I'm pretty sure the 3-minute candle will close right there. Bang. Yeah, that's not a coincidence, guys. I'm sorry, that's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. There's no coincidence to it. Right? There's no coincidence to this 3-minute immediately expanding to the other side of the 15-minute range. Even though they're different time frames, we can still use a 15-minute range for a 3-minute CRT. Dang, man. I don't know. This is an interesting idea we're going to have to experiment with, but clearly it's worked out in this situation where we have a 3-minute CRT within a 15-minute candle range. Interesting. It is very interesting, I will admit. So I'm not going to mark this out as the regular Genesis model because it's not really a normal one, but it's something that I'm observing that I want to take notes on. Right? Where basically we get a 3-minute CRT off a 15-minute candle range. I don't know. It's just interesting thought, right? Just kind of, this is how we learn. right? And then you can see a lot more clearly on the 3-minute, right? When the 3-minute candle manipulates out the high of the 15-minute range and then closes back within the range, we look for an entry above whatever's higher, the open or the close. And you can see, well, yeah. I guess, yeah. I mean, it's interesting, right? It's an interesting thought. I guess I'm just gonna screenshot this again, and then we're gonna record it again. So, interesting idea. Lower time frame CRT for higher time frame candle range number 2. Okay. I don't know. It's interesting, right? My brain's kind of still warming up to the idea, but I don't know. Sometimes you just gotta experiment with things and try it out. We probably had a 2022 model at this low here. This might be an interesting idea. Maybe we should look at it. I'm looking a lot at Tuesday because Tuesday was the day that I backtested the least. Oh, what the? We are way, way, way far back. Actually, I'm going to take another break real quick. I'm not gonna lie, just thinking about it, it's an interesting thought, right? Just the idea of using that lower time frame CRT for that higher time frame range. What's up, Ahmad? How are you, bro? One thing to note is this was a Phoenix model at the high here with the previous day high S&T. Right? Do you guys see the rejection block? It's pretty obvious. It's kind of hard to miss. Part of me wonders, what if you take of the rejection block, what if you actually don't use the high? What if you use the lowest of the three? That's an interesting thought. But yeah, clearly you can see this was Phoenix model, right? Let's just mark it out normally. So Phoenix model is when we have SMT with a rejection block. A high probability rejection block takes liquidity, which means takes out an old high. So you can see that happens here, right? We take out an old high in the market. We take out this high. Right, so we take liquidity there. 1 hour rejection block. We get SMT with that rejection block. Okay, cool. This is, yeah, it's just obvious SMT, right? So this is dark Phoenix. This is regular Phoenix. When you have a Phoenix model on one asset, so when I see Phoenix model on this asset, you could possibly enter the trade if you want on the S&P. That's dark Phoenix. I'm not suggesting that's what you do, but you could. Let's actually just project out the rejection block. Let's say we were to project this out. And as always, you can wait for line time frame change in state. There's nothing wrong with waiting for the line time frame change in state off of Phoenix model. That's just it just makes it flow state. But yeah, nothing wrong with that. So we can project this out. I mean, the Phoenix model here, actually, you can clearly see this. Actually, if you were to hold it, it'd be at least 20R. I'm not suggesting that that's what you should do. I'm not suggesting that you have to. What I'm suggesting is if you wanted to, you could. But 1 hour rejection block on both assets, one gets swept, the other one doesn't. Phoenix model is entering on the asset, which we do not sweep the rejection block. And then yeah, I would just target 4 projections of the rejection block. So that hits almost instantly, right? That hits within the hour. Clean as can be. 4 projections of the rejection block. Bang. So you see how this can be really nice. As always, I could wait for an aligned time frame change to stay off of the rejection block. It's just kind of up to you and your personal preference. So let's just screenshot this as Phoenix model at 12 o'clock. Hey, what's 1 plus 2? 3. So that means it was a 369 time. Okay, so 12 o'clock, what is this, on Tuesday? 12 o'clock, Phoenix model, on the 1 hour, and there's no aligned time frame, right? Yeah, no aligned time frame with Phoenix model, unless you turn it into a flow state, which you could. So I could take this on and look at the 5 minute and say, okay, we have this higher time frame rejection block. Let's wait for 5 minute change in state out of it, and then you essentially almost the same trade that we just looked at just a second ago. You get essentially the same exact trade, like this 5 minute change in state. We just talked about this. Okay, let's move on here. This actually would have likely been a very, very nice dark Phoenix, because if I had to guess, we're pushing into a, I'm not going to get into that into detail, but we're pushing into this reaction block. So I guess you could soup this with a pretty strong high probability. Okay, what do we look at now? Hmm. Yeah, what do we look at? That, oh yeah, we looked at that already. I mean, there was just obvious sweep and then inversion higher or something like that. Okay, come on. Load. Load. Oh my. Why is it being so slow? Okay, what do we look at now? What next? What was the POC of this? Fascinating. Look, that's where we go. That's exactly where we go. That's very interesting. ICT is BS and you bought most of your subs. I did not buy my subs. But okay. Yeah, I respect your opinion, man. I respect it. I'm not here to convince you. I'm just here to help people who want to listen and learn. And for those who don't, I could not care less, right? You can go do your own thing and you can be happy. You don't need to know anything about ICT. You're just missing out on the truth. I mean, it just kind of sucks to be you because you literally knew about ICT and you just were like, nah, it's just stupid. You were so close, bro. You're so close to figuring it out, to learning how these markets really move, and you're just like, nah, it's just stupid. I would hate to have that be my life. I would hate to have that be my life, bro. I would that'd make me I would genuinely, I can't even imagine having to live your life like that, knowing you're so close to knowing how these markets really work, and you're just like, nah, yeah, I don't care. Oh my gosh. But yeah, dude, if I bought my subs, why? No, here's the thing. If I bought my subs, why is my growth curve on my YouTube so consistent? Why is my YouTube growth curve so consistent? If you see bot subs, it would go spike, spike. Go on Social Blade. Go on Social Blade. What do you see when you go on Social Blade? What do you see? What do you see when you go on Social Blade? Right? Okay. If I go on Social Blade, what do you see? If I bought my subs, you would expect to see spike, 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 right? That's what you would expect. What do you see here? Not future projections. Let's just compare myself to Amos real quick, right? If I bought subs, it would have to spike, bro. It would have to spike. But instead, what do you see? Smooth, consistent growth. You can't fake that. You can't buy fake consistent growth. You can't buy a consistent growth curve. It's impossible. Like, I mean, unless there was some weird site where you could do that. But like I said, like, this is not, if you were expecting bot subs, you would expect it to just spike. So how could these be bought if it was this consistent, right? Ice-T was so lit, you would have made enough money to buy a real camera. Okay, let's take that logic. Let's take the logic a step further. So, if being a doctor was a real way to make money, make money, then why aren't all the people in school to become a doctor already rich? It's because it takes time, bro. It takes time to master the skill. Trading is probably one of the hardest skills to learn in the entire world, and you expect to be able to beat the stock market in less than 2 years, bro? You expect to be able to beat the stock market in less than 2 years? Beating the whole entire freaking stock market, bro. You expect to beat the stock market in 2 years? Get out of here. Go apply to McDonald's, bro. That's stupid. That's stupid crap. You ain't not beating the stock market in 2 freaking years. It takes 10 years to become a doctor. Why do you think you can beat the stock market in 2 years, bro? Why do you think you can beat the stock market in 2 years? That is retarded, bro. So yeah, I might not be the best trader in the world yet. Doesn't mean Ice-T isn't true, 1. And 2, doesn't mean that I'm not going to prove you wrong. 100% going to prove you wrong. 100% going to prove you wrong, bro. 100%. And yes, I've made money. I've gotten $3,600 in payouts from prop firms, and I've gotten funded. I passed 16 different accounts for $800,000 in funding. So, bro, you can't hate on the truth. You can't hate on something that's you can't hate. You can hate on things that are lies and things that are made up, but you can't hate on something that's reality. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you think. It does not matter what you think, bro. Because at the end of the day, guess where I'll be in 5 years? And guess where you'll be, bro? Guess where you will be? It won't even be compared. We won't even be compared. Thanks, Ahmed. Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, I've gotten $3,600 in payouts. You can't make that crap up, bro. $3,600. I got paid out so much. Apex, they banned my account. I only just barely recently got unbanned. They banned me, bro. You blown more than evals? No, I actually don't think I have, bro. I actually don't think I have. Reaper, stop hating, bro. Lock in. Stop looking at other people's lives and feeling like you have to hate because you're not where you want to be, so you feel like you gotta go hate someone else's life. Stop feeling like you gotta do that. Instead, lock in on your own life. Lock in to accomplish your goals and your dreams, and stop giving a crap about some random other dude on the internet, bro. Stop giving a crap. Like, why do you feel the need to be in my comment section right now? I am still with my parents. Obviously, bro. What do you think I am? It's obviously my parents' house. I'm not going to deny I'm in my parents' house. Obviously. Right? This is not my house. If it was, maybe obvious, right? But it's not. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it is. But guess what? That's because I'm being smart. That's because I'm not going to go out and just rent a random apartment that I can't afford. It's because I'm not going to be stupid. Right? Because I'm actually locked in. It's because I'm locked in on my goals. And my parents support me with that, bro. My parents actually support me and help me. And care about me. Alright, bro. Bet. I'll take you up on that. I'll take you freaking up on that, bro. I freaking take you up on that. Exactly, thank you. Let's see what you've done, Reaper. Let's see what you've done. Because as far as I can tell, haters hate because they can't do it themselves. They can't do it themselves. Haven't even been blowing accounts, bro. I'm already halfway past on 3 of my top step accounts. I'm just trying to lock in on this last half, bro. Alright, I'm gonna get some water. You can't hate someone who's spitting absolute facts. You can't hate on the truth. You can't hate on the truth. Reaper, why the crap? Why the crap are you still in the comments? Bro. Reaper, why are you still freaking here, bro? You can leave. Alright, anyway, let's keep going, guys. I don't really care about Reaper. He can go cry, and he's never gonna... Reaper's... If you go around hating like that, like Reaper is, it shows about the character of the type of person you are. I'm not... So, like, no one should do that. No one should do that. If you're hating on other people, probably just means you got some stuff to work on yourself. Right? Reaper needs to go figure it out. Alright. You guys get what I'm saying. Okay, yeah, like I said, you can't fake this growth. Can't fake it because it's legit, right? No, I'm not scared. I trade live every day. I'll go in a trade competition with you. I will. I'll go in a trade competition with you. I will. Just tell me when and where. But bro, first tell me how much you've made from prop firms. Tell me how much you've made in the markets. Tell me, Reaper. Tell me. How much have you made, bro? I told you I made 3,600. I told you I made 3,600. Where's your even... I don't even hear a number. I didn't even hear a number from you, bro. Not even a word, bro. You just all quiet now, huh? Now you're all quiet. Bro, you can't buy a consistent growth curve. I can't. It's impossible for me to even if I bought these, it's impossible for it to look like this. I can't buy a consistent growth curve. It's not possible, bro. It's not possible for me to have bought the subs. It's because you hate. You hate that I'm working harder than you, bro. You hate it, and you don't want to admit the fact that I'm locked in, right? Lock in yourself, man. You can get here too. You can get here too. Stop complaining and lock in, bro. What are you doing? What are you doing? Well, why are you sitting here complaining in my chat when you could start your own stream? You could start your own YouTube channel. You could start locking in. Yeah, we can have a trade competition, but not on Asian session on Sunday night at 8 p.m. at 10 p.m. Eastern. Like, bro, we're not trading We're not trading Asian session on Sunday. You can watch me live trade, and you can see if you can outperform me, right? Yeah, that's what we can do. All right, let's just move on. Yeah, can I explain 90-minute open intervals? Yeah. So, basically, Mirza Musa and Reaper, by the way, I'm going to be ignoring you from this point on, so I really don't care what you say. So basically, every 90 minutes is going to be a new cycle, and it's going to be the first 22 minutes. So, for instance, 3:22 452, 622, 752, 922. Every single the first 22 minutes of that 90-minute cycle, it's going to be a key time. So you're going to want to use that as a reference point for your trades. Yeah, 90-minute. Basically, you want to look for S&Ts between those 90-minute cycles. So they start at, so for from 0 to 130 to 3, right? You see how I'm marking these up, right? Every 90 minutes, you mark up a different quarter. You want to look for S&T between the highs of these quarters. It's going to be higher probability S&T. And then, like I said, the price of the first 22 minutes, whatever price it closes at, drag that out in time, and you're going to use that as a reference point for the rest of the cycle. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, basically, just look for S&T between the 90-minute quarters. Yeah. All right, I need to take a break, bro. This is kind of, dude, I got fired up, bro. We're gonna take a break. I'm gonna take a break. Thank you, Mirza Musa. I appreciate you. I'm gonna take a break. Okay. Let's keep reviewing the market, guys. Yeah, you're right. I am gonna make it. You realize you just said that I'm gonna make it, right? You just kind of proved my point, did you not? Okay. All right. Relax now. Moving on. Let's move on. Yeah. So I guess I'm needing to review more on Monday and Tuesday. So I guess let's go ahead and do that. So, yeah, let's start out on Monday. So, Monday we talked about this. Oh my gosh. Monday, I should have been more prepared to possibly take an entry in this weird 7 a.m. hour, which is 5 a.m. my time, but if I had been awake, or I was awake, but if I had been, yeah, Monday was interesting because if I had been prepared and ready to take a trade, you can clearly see that we had a nice, very nice 2022 model where I already have it marked out. Yeah, very nice 2022 model. Or maybe I didn't mark it out. Bro, what? I had to mark it out. Oh, I did. I did. Yeah, so we swept out liquidity. Very obvious accumulation range. We swept out liquidity, pushing into the new week opening gap. Then we got a break of structure, and this 5-minute for value gap formed. It was perfectly in the GB partition, which is a nice additional confluence. We're below every single one of our true opens, and then we expand. So, yeah, I don't know. But once again, this one I'd have to have been on the charts. It's unfortunate because it's not in my live trading window. I can't take this across my accounts. So that was obviously the trade of the day. Was there something else I could have taken? That's what I want to know. Was there something else I could have taken within my live trading window? Because I think I didn't take a trade on Monday, and the main reason was because the opportunity was within this 5-minute for value gap. So that was prior to my live trading window. Was there opportunity after it? Let's go ahead and look around. This is Monday of last week, for those who want to look around with me. So, yeah, this was Monday. Like, it would have been so easy if I could have allowed myself to take a trade at 7:30, but I'm not just gonna change my live trading window just because one setup happened to work out really nicely at 7:30. Now I still have my alt accounts I can take a trade on at that time, but yeah, I don't know, something to think about for the future, because if enough opportunities do happen at 7:30, which is prior to my live trading window, then maybe that's something I should consider going to the future. But for now, I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna chill out on having to take a trade at 7:30. So okay. Oh wow, we went back a little too far, huh? So yeah, like I said, we swept out all these lows. Break. We get two different breaker structures. One right here, we hold this for value gap, and then we break structure again, hold this for value gap. Yeah, I don't know. Once again, my live trading window starts at 8:30. Was there opportunity after 8:30? I'm not convinced that there was. That's the thing. I mean, obviously, if I stayed patient and I was really observant, maybe. Oh, I know what opportunity there was. Yeah. You know what? We can take the Reaper, right? This is obvious. Oh my gosh. There we go. Here's the trade opportunity. So, this was the opportunity that I could have taken during my live trading window. Then again, I actually don't know if we had much of a... Nah, he's not getting to me. I don't really give a crap what he says. So, we're all good there. But I appreciate it, Stargaze. So, you could take this. What is this? You guys might be like, what is he looking at? Well, we have a series of up-close candles before the move lower on the left side of the curve. So, you guys will remember the signature and price over and over again. In discount, you'll get... I merged these two candles together, but you can see that if I merge these two candles together, that's a fair value gap. So we can take that, use it as our higher time frame key level, and look for a 30-second change and stay out of it. Now, and I just named it. I made a name for the specific type of situation, actually, which is kind of cool. I just very recently named it, like last week, like I think on Friday. It's like 3 days ago I named this. But basically, you take a Reaper and you look for an aligned time frame change to stay out of it, and I call it the Abyss model. Jake, you use Powell/Phoenix model or something. I trade AMD, and I look for my entry within any model within that AMD. So it could be just a change in state. It could be an inversion for value gap. Could be a rejection block, which is Powell Trades model. It could be fair value gap, which is the 2022 model. But it all ties back to AMD. So you get what I'm saying? I look for AMD and then look for opportunity within that. And to me it doesn't matter, because these markets are all AMD. It doesn't really make a difference whether I enter on a fair value gap, whether I enter on a what's it called, a rejection block, whether I enter on a change in state or an inversion for value gap. It doesn't matter to me. Yeah. So you can see how this Reaper was respected. We got 30-second change to stay out of it. We closed a little too high for my liking, so personally, not a valid opportunity. So yeah, I don't know. Monday was probably just a no trade day. Like, I'm trying to look really hard and say maybe there was a trade, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm not seeing anything that I'm really liking. You know what's cool that happened going into the CPI is we actually did hold the Reaper gap. Right, remember the signature and price where we have a low, high, lower low, higher high. The series of up close candles mark out that fair value gap, and once again, it's not necessarily going to be literally a fair value gap. Sometimes you just kind of have to merge candles together to find wherever that imbalance in price is. But that's going to be very sensitive. And so these fair value gap, this fair value gap discount, bang, and then let's see if there's 30-second change out of this. Yeah, it was more of an instantaneous pump. Okay, well, let's just move on then. Man, sometimes, you know what? If you don't see opportunity, like I'm trying to be like, yo, was there opportunity on Monday? Honestly, looks like to me, for my own personal opinion, there wasn't much opportunity on Monday. Besides the 730 trade, the 730 2022 model, which was really nice, but that is outside my live trading window. Wait, no, I actually see something. Just kidding, guys. I actually see a trade. Wow, this is really obvious too. Oh, this is actually sick. Check this out. We have a OB. I have a video coming out on this, by the way. I don't know when, maybe like this week or next week, but how to trade propulsion blocks, right? You have an OB, a propulsion block, a PB. A video coming out at some point later this week, I think. It might be next week, we'll see, but you can see OB. This is a very obvious one, right? We have an OB and a propulsion block pushing down into that OB. So, I guess this is also before 8:30, huh? Still, though, I think it's worth learning about and marking out. Hey, what up, Javier? Good to see you, bro. Appreciate you, bro. It's always good to see you, bro. I'm having a little bit of a discourse here with a Reaper trader. He's telling me every single reason I don't know what I'm doing and I'm a bad trader, and I'm just like, nice, bro, nice. I'm gonna keep doing me. But yeah, we have a OB, a propulsion block. Unfortunately, I do think this was outside of my live trading window, or oh, maybe it wasn't. Now I'm looking at it, I don't think it was. Okay, OB. So 15-minute OB. So the way I trade propulsion blocks, the video I have on this is coming out later this week, but the way I like to trade propulsion block is I like to take a OB, PB, and then I look for an aligned time frame change in state out of that propulsion block. So we have 15-minute OB, 15-minute propulsion block, and then we go down to the lower time frame and we say, okay, where's a 1-minute change in state out of this? For me, that would be right here. So I would probably just enter this on the close. That's what I would do. It's a very simple way to take this. Obviously, you could have taken the retest, and that would have worked as well. Maybe slightly better entry, but I'm just being realistic. I probably would have entered on the close. And then I'd go break even at probably these bodies here. I'm just trying to be realistic about what I would actually do. So break even at these bodies. And then the nice thing about propulsion blocks is, well, once you get in, they're going to do their thing. They're going to be a propulsion block, and they're going to be very, very explosive. So I get in on the 1-minute change in state here, 15-minute OB, 15-minute PB, entering on a 1-minute change in state. And then let's just say I had stop at the low, because I think that's a reasonable place to have it. Let's project out the OB here. And let's just, you know what? Let's just say that we targeted these relatively equal highs. I think that's a reasonable spot. Maybe relatively equal bodies, right? There we go. That's what? That's 3.8, or that's 3R, right? I can't be upset about 3R at all. I appreciate you, Javier. This is how I would take this on this close here. So 15-minute OB, 15-minute propulsion block. I always like to look at true opens as well. we were below midnight. That's another reason I like this. We were below midnight, and then, well, 7:30 had been manipulated as well. So we were below both of those. Yeah, I don't mind it. I do not mind this trade at all. Once again, why do I care about midnight, and why do I care about 7:30? Because it's time-based premium and discount. It's usually using quarterly theory, and the reason we use the second quarter, not the first quarter, is because we're never going to manipulate in the first quarter. That's just not going to happen. We're only going to manipulate starting in that second quarter, which means I only want to use time once we hit that second quarter. We're never going to manipulate in that first quarter. It doesn't happen. Yeah, and break even there, and 1 minute change in state. Expansion. Obviously, you could have kept holding it, right? Left a runner, you would have obviously banked. Guess what? I'm just trying to make money. I'm just trying to be me. I'm trying to be profitable. So we're going to actually just take profit at these relatively equal bodies and be done. That's what I would do. Objectively, this is what I would do. Sure, I don't care. I'm not really scared of him, honestly. But I don't know. I kind of have to take my live trading window seriously, and yeah, I'm not gonna really be trading outside of that. So I guess you just need to consider the trades I take during my live trading window to be applied to the competition. I don't know how you would do that really, but I think that'd be cool. So yeah, I like that 1 minute change of state. Obviously, you could have entered on the retest. That's fine too. That's fine too. So 8:21. What is this? Monday? Okay, we gotta go to Monday. Okay, 8:21. Flow state, close. Not flow state. This, so whenever I have flow state with a propulsion block, I named that my Dynamis model. So basically, anytime I use a change of state off a propulsion block, I made a name for it. It's called Dynamis. So, 8:21, Dynamis, 15-minute aligning with the 1 minute. So I'm gonna go ahead and save that. How old are you, fam? I'm 23. How about you? Oh, that's clean. That's clean. Yeah, these markets are perfect, guys. Obviously, I could project this order block out further, but sometimes you just gotta be content with making money. Maybe I'm getting kind of tired. Honestly, I guess I gotta get up in however many hours. Maybe I should just go to bed, because then I can actually wake up from my live trading window. Nice. That's awesome, Stargaze. You know what? Let's just do that. I'm gonna go to bed because I need to wake up from my live trading window. But yeah, nice little propulsion block trade there, and I'm gonna call it there. Honestly, obviously I could keep back testing, but I think I should focus on getting enough sleep and then waking up to live trade tomorrow. So with that, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.